We all know the importance of how we represent ourselves. The things we say and the things we do influence the people around us. It's all about the message we are sending, including the things that we wear. Christians can be more aware of the messages we bring to others in their clothing with Covenant Press. Covenant Press is a faith-based Christian apparel and accessory store that is fearfully and wonderfully made. If you want to wear the message of Christ and Christianity, then go to their website at covenant-press.com. That's www.covenant-press.com. For the next 24 hours, you will get 25% off the purchase of $50 or more using the discount code GROWTH at checkout. Sign up and become a member to receive points for future purchases. Again, that's covenant-press.com, www.covenant-press.com to get 25% off your purchase of $50 or more using discount code GROWTH at checkout. Tell your friends and family about covenant-press.com so we can all share the message. Welcome to Laquita's Toolbox, where we deliver relevant content in the form of tools that empower entrepreneurs to elevate personally and professionally. Good is only good until greater is envisioned. You know there's another level in you. Here we discuss the tools to get you there. Lean in as Laquita and her guests present you with strategies and insight for unlocking your full potential to realize your boldest dream.
Welcome to another amazing episode of Laquita's Toolbox. I am your host, Laquita Momley, and I have in the studio with me today an amazing guest, y'all. Y'all gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun today. Today's topic is real important. It's some hot buzz. It's about a hot buzzword that's going around all of these social media streets and whatnot. And we're gonna get to the bottom of what the real deal is. And Dr. J, she's gonna break it down all the way down so that we can understand it. But before we do that, I'd like to take the moment just to thank our sponsors at Covenant Press. They are a faith-based Christian apparel and accessory shop where we as believers can wear the message of the love of Jesus Christ. Go out to their website at www.covenant-press.com. Shop till you drop, ladies and gentlemen. And if your cart reaches $50 or more, drop in the promo code GROWTH at the checkout to receive 25% or more off of your purchases when you use that promo code GROWTH. If your purchases exceed $50 or more, check out Covenant Press. They are an amazing group of individuals, and they've been sponsoring Laquita's Toolbox for quite some time, and we do appreciate that support from them. But today in the studio, an amazing person, Dr. Tiffany Jenkins of Awakening Change, LLC. She's going to share some amazing tidbits with us today, and I can't wait. Dr. Tiffany, how are you, ma'am? How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am great. It is because we cut up before the show, so
very much so.
I love it. I mean, what we're going to be talking about today, we're talking about self-care, and self-care has been a buzzword for a couple of years now, and it doesn't seem to be going away, which is not bad. It's not bad. We need to implement self-care, but the important thing is we need to know what self-care is and what it's not. And if everybody's talking about it, why are so many people failing at proper self-care?
Well, because, you know, it's like a lot of things right now on social media. Everybody talks about things that they think they know and they really don't know. It's just they have a platform now. And so because they have a platform, somehow they consider themselves to be experts. And the other thing is that a multidimensional view of self-care is not as widely discussed. Most of us take the self part of self-care and we think that that's it. You just take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. And we don't go deeper and say, okay, well, how do I take care of myself and what does that look like? And like we were saying before, the show started, a lot of what we're calling self-care is just personal grooming and hygiene. Like, it's your bare minimum. I need you to take a bubble bath or take a shower every day. I would hope. Like, we
Is
don't
it
want
cool?
to, we don't want you out in these streets and you're a little fragrant. We don't want that that's not what we're looking for. And so when we talk about mani pedis and spa days and brunching with the besties, those things are cool, but those things are not comprehensive self-care. There are really 8 dimensions of wellness that we need to be attending to in our self-care. And most people like crap out at like the physical stuff. We know we need sleep. And the thing that gets me is, in all of this talk about self-care, nobody's even really talking about the basic stuff. Everybody's talking about these like, vacations and time off and all that. We're not doing the basics well. Like, typically most Americans are not getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Like, we're just not. And that's the bare minimum that adults need in order to be healthy. We're not drinking half of our body weight in ounces in water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you should be drinking at least 100 ounces of water every day. We're not doing that.
Oh,
You
no,
should be
ma'am.
eating healthy food, not Burger King, McDonald's, In-N-Out Burger. Like, we shouldn't be doing all of that. Taco
Right.
Bell. Like, that's not, if you want to eat that, fine, but you should have balanced fruits, vegetables, all of this stuff. Like, and that's really one of the best places to start with our physical self-care, because if we could get that right, we would have the energy that it takes to go around the continuum and kind of get all of that other stuff together. But we don't. We talk about the fun stuff. We talk about mani pedis, we talk about brunching with the besties, we talk about these luxurious bubble baths and all of that. When really self-care doesn't have to be expensive, it doesn't have to be complicated, and it really should be something that we incorporate into every single day.
You're saying that in some of those basic things, and it brought to mind for me initial shock that my family had when our first time living outside the country together as a family. We moved to England, and the way of life there is just completely different in this little small village, little small town where my husband was stationed. We went from having to live at 150 miles an hour to being slowed down to 40. And our initial shock was we were upset and angry about it. And long story short, it took us 90 days to realize that slow pace of life was exactly
That's where
what
you need to
we
be.
needed, because
Mhm.
we had been running on empty. Let's not even talk about self-care. It didn't exist. It wasn't a thing between school, work, church, after school activities for all 5 of the kids, doing different things. And me and my husband get lunch dates most days together. We did, did we go out on Saturdays? A lot of the time we did, but we were probably walking, talking poster children for burnout, and we
Mhm.
didn't even know it.
You don't know it
And
because
when
it's been so normalized over
yeah,
here.
it has. And the way of life at that time, and we noticed it, just living in England, living in Germany, traveling, they put quality of life before everything. They work, don't get me wrong, they work and they work hard,
Mhm.
but they don't work the types of hours that we work. They have mandatory, they call it holiday, and it starts at
Mhm.
a month. It
Mhm.
starts at a month. You working at the Burger King or the McDonald's, you getting
Mhm.
a month. We have to work up to a year to get a whole week. And
Mhm.
Burger King and McDonald's employees, they're part time. They're not getting a week.
Yep.
They get unpaid leave if you take a few days off,
Mhm.
but you're not. And so it took us 90 days to say, hey, let's try out this lifestyle and give it a fair shot. And
Mhm.
we found out that I like that. And so from 2010 to 2017, we just adopted that way of life. And coming back to the States, number one, I didn't want to do it. Number two,
Whole culture shock.
whole culture shock when we got back for our children, because when we went over there, our oldest was ninth grade, youngest was second grade. They pretty much grew up in Europe. And then coming back to the fast pace of life in America, it took a toll on my health and my husband's health in that. Trying to get adjusted back to, okay, how do we make time for ourselves? Like the common thing for me to do or for him to do, not even thinking about it then as self-care, was my quality time with me in the morning. My quality time with me in the morning is non-negotiable. Get up, go outside my bedroom, and draw a cup of coffee on my balcony. And because why? Everybody else was doing it. You're not going to take away their quality time from them. It's important.
They live longer. They have better quality of life. I remember
Yes,
when we visited Spain, and
oh my God, yes.
we went to go into some shop that we were like really excited about. We had looked it up. We were really excited, and they were like, "No, everything's closed." For what? Siesta. What do you mean siesta?
Yeah.
No. And then the shop owner's like, "Sit, talk to us for a while." No, we got this whole long agenda. What you mean sit and talk for a while?
Sit and talk for a while.
No, we don't work. So then we're like, okay, maybe we'll go to the store down here. And they were like, no, you don't understand. This is the time when everything shuts down and we just relax for a little bit.
Yes.
And I was like,
have some tapas, a little sangria, you know.
We were like, so wait, this is like
a thing.
Like, and it took some adjusting. And we were there for a month. But of course, by the time we finally got used to it, we had to come back home. And it's just like, we were exchange students. So it's like, okay, what you mean I can't take a break from class and just kind of take a nap? Like, no, not a thing. Like I can't do that anymore.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
So imagine living like that for 7.5, almost 8 years, and then bringing me back. It wasn't just an adjustment for us. Like you said, it was an adjustment for the normal. It's normal for the kids to take that gap year between high school and university. It's normal. So my older children took that gap year. No problem. My youngest son, it's like, Mom, I can't take a gap year. Then I can't play the sports. Then I can't do this. Then I can't do that. And it's like,
it's so restrictive.
So restrictive.
And that's part of the reason why I think this whole concept of self-care has been so watered down. Because if now the way that I talk about self-care is like, oh, that's radical self-care. No, baby, it's basic.
It's basic.
It's basic. But it seems so radical against the backdrop of this go, 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 go type of culture that we're in. And like you said, when you're in Europe, this is what is expected.
This is the way of life.
Is baseline. Yeah, this is just what we do. And you look like a nut trying to keep running, and it's like you don't have to do that. And let's just talk about like just the availability of like fresh fruits and vegetables.
Yes, ma'am.
And how that is just, it's not like you have to go searching.
You don't.
We have in the US, we have whole food deserts where the only thing folks have access to is a bunch of frozen and overprocessed stuff, which affects, all of the other stuff that we're talking about with self-care.
I was at Aldi's this weekend picking up produce. Gentleman was there for his first time, whatever, random conversation. I said, Aldi's in Germany, you go in and across Europe, you go to the market, whatever it's called, your fruits and vegetables still got the dirt on it. It's truly farm to table. And it does not cost your left kidney. It don't cost your left lung to get it.
At all.
You ain't got to sell an appendage. You ain't got to rent one out to nobody. I can go in there with €5.
Nothing.
Come on. €5, I can go get a couple of fresh fruits and vegetables, still stop at the bakery and get me a cup of cappuccino. And if I want a roll or a bun, I can get that too. €5. And they made it that day, not 2 days ago.
Probably a couple hours
ago. Yes.
It ain't even that. It ain't like that day, but it was like, 12 hours. No, it was like, it's probably still warm at this point.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Like, and it was so amazing, but I love that. Once we opened up and allowed it, it showed me, and like I said, we didn't call it self-care. We learned that there's a lot of things about the American way of life that's not healthy. It's not conducive to family, and not at all, Like you said, you go out to eat, it's expected for you to be there at least 2 to 3 hours, because that's the time that the adults get to have conversation and visit with friends and whatnot. Even if I'm going into the pub for us will be the equivalent of whatever your little neighborhood club is,
Mm-hmm.
the spot where the old people go hang out and shoot pool, and you don't have children in there. Well, there it's a family atmosphere. Yeah, you're gonna walk through the bar part, but the little restaurant part, you have kids in there sometimes. It's expected that
Yep.
that meal isn't 45 minutes from start to finish, and then you're out. You have that time
You
to
actually taste your
taste
food.
food. Yeah.
And you want to taste your food because
Yeah.
it's fresh and
Fresh.
you want to enjoy the
Yes.
herbs and not the chemical salts and all that other stuff.
All that
Like
other stuff.
all of that is, and it's funny because technically all of that stuff is self-care, because sitting and enjoying a meal in the company of friends is your social self-care. Eating a better quality of food is your physical self-care, right? Even being in that environment is, uplifting. And so you've got environmental self-care, but you've also got spiritual self-care, because
Mm.
spiritual self-care is not just about your personal religious practice, it's about your space in the bigger universe and how you connect with the world around you. And so when you have that time and you're not like, all right, somebody needs to save on 45 minutes, let's hurry up and just, we're gonna scarf this down and then okay, we're gonna go. You have time to actually connect with people. You can find out how each other's day was and what's working and what's not working. You can network even. And well, I heard over here we got this going on. You might want to come over. Like there's just this whole vibe that
Mhm.
when you leave, you genuinely leave feeling better.
Yes.
You're not bloated from a whole bunch of chemicals and all that other kind of stuff. The food is actually nourishing. The
Mhm.
company you're keeping is actually nourishing. The environment, the aesthetics of the place, the pub or the marketplace where you're going to eat is aesthetically pleasing. Like it's self-care is literally woven into every piece of life there. Unfortunately, that's something that not a lot of Americans get to experience. And when I say things like, okay, but you can create that for yourself,
Mhm.
people look at me like I got six heads. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, I can't. No, yes,
Mhm.
you can.
Yes, you can.
Because
Yes, you
first
can.
you got to set a boundary. Like it starts
Mhm.
with you saying, no, I'm
Yes.
not going to do all of this. Like you guys had to learn when you came home. You could bring that back with you. You had to figure out how it was going to work for your family. You had to say, I'm not getting up first thing in the morning and then rushing out hither and yon. Like I'm going to sit here, I'm going to have my cup of coffee.
Yeah. It's
Like,
non-negotiable.
there you go.
Yeah. It's
But it's a
non-negotiable.
boundary you've set.
Yeah. And I think it's it made again, did not think about it in terms of self-care until I started to hear the buzzwords.
Mm-hmm.
All I knew is I learned these things being gone 8 years. And some of the because be clear, in those 7.5, 8 years, some very stressful things took place. We were raising teenagers
That's a lot. That's a lot.
in foreign soil. Like, okay, lots of stressful things took place, but the way that we handled the stress, the way that it was just completely different. And I'm gonna say this: we ate more frequently, richer foods than what we have here. I can get fat. I gained an ungodly amount of weight after we got home. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily know if it's because, of course, the food quality here is poorer,
Mm-hmm.
but also the way that the stress.
Stress creates what is the hormone? Cortisol and ghrelin. Ghrelin is like I call it the growling hormone. Ghrelin is what makes you hungry, right?
Mm,
Cortisol increases the fat around your midsection because cortisol was originally meant to be like a more of a survival type of thing. It was supposed to, kind of keep you insulated and protected from danger in your like in very, very early developmental stages of humanity, right? Um, and so what has happened to us is that our brains are so consistently stimulated that our brain is doing what it was created to do. It is perceiving a threat, but there's really no danger.
mm,
So stress is quite simply the perception of threat where there is no danger. When you are well, traumatic stress, I'll say, because you can have good stress. Good stress is I got a new job, I'm excited, I'm still gonna have all of this like adrenaline and stuff coursing, but it's for we'll say pro-social reason. It's for a good reason. There's a good in coming to it. It's not destructive. And that stress goes through the normal cycle. I get this uptick of all of these chemicals that like help me be sharper and focus and do my best because it's my first day at a new job or whatever. And then when that first day is over, I can come home and I can relax and then I go back down. What Americans are typically living with is chronic and even traumatic, in some cases, stress. There's research that shows that particularly for my Black folks, all people of color is the more general, but particularly for those people who are American descendants of slaves. That's the way that kind of separated out. Those folks have what's called racialized trauma. So there's living in the system that is built on and functions with, injustices and all that other kind of stuff. You also have the chronic stress of, like we said, the hustle and bustle of like our American life. And when you bring those together, your body gets stuck in that up and it can't come down.
It can't come down.
So you get stuck in that more primal side of your brain that says there's danger, right? For example, if a bear walked into the room where you are right now, you don't need to figure out if it's a male or a female, if it's a grizzly bear, a North American black bear. You don't care.
I don't care.
The goal is get out.
Yeah.
Just get to safety. Well, Americans are chronically under that kind of there's a bear in the room stress, right? Black Americans are under there's a whole zoo in the room stress, right? And so when that side of our brain is activated, the logic side, the side that thinks things through and says, no, this is a feeling. This is not fact. You are actually safe. Everything is okay. That side sits down because you don't need to think about it. If you think that there's a zoo in the room, you just got to get to safety.
Yeah.
And so what happens is our body starts producing all of that ghrelin, all of that cortisol, all of that adrenaline, all of those other chemicals that have a place. They're good for getting us an immediate response. But when your body stays there, now you got all this excess builds up, and you don't have access to the logical side of your brain to say, hold up. It feels that way, but it's not quite that. Or it feels that way, but here's a better way. Let's relax so that we can get out of it. So what we really want to get into, and this is why I think self-care is important, because if you are fueling your body, if you are getting to know yourself, if you're spending time with yourself, if you know what you feel like when you're relaxed, at the beginning of that tension, at the beginning of that stress cycle, you can recognize it and begin to intervene. So you don't stay up there as long. If I'm not spending time with myself and the only thing I do is maybe once a week take a bubble bath, or every 2 weeks go and sit in a nail salon with all of the noise and everything, and I'm not really relaxing, I'm just, doing stuff. Or maybe I might once a year or once a month go and get a massage. So for that hour, my brain is trying to shut off. I'm not really going to know what I feel like when I'm relaxed. And so I'm not going to be able to interrupt that response.
So I got a lot of questions. I got a lot of questions. So, in your book, Reclaiming My Time, A Black Woman's Guide to Self-Care, you talk about the 8 dimensions of self-care with the reader. You said something right there. With the amount of in the zoo stress, the zoo in my room stress that African American women in particular, we're going to talk about African American women because I'm an African American woman.
Me too.
How do we even begin to know what not being under stress looks like for us if we haven't seen that in such a long time?
So I'm going to tell you one of the things that I use a lot with my clients, right? It's called progressive muscle relaxation. It's not anything all that complicated. What it is you start with your feet and you start to tense and relax the muscles in your feet. Then you move up to like your legs, your knees, your calves, your pelvic muscles, your stomach, your arms, everything, even your jaw. You open your mouth as wide as you possibly can and relax it. What happens when you do that is 2 things. One, you start to get the feeling of tension versus relaxation.
Mhm.
Because once if you do it with your hands and you squeeze your hands real tight, when you relax, you feel the difference now between what tight feels like
Mhm.
and what relax feels like.
Mhm.
So now I know the feeling I'm looking for, even
Mhm.
if it's a feeling that I haven't had. And when most people do this for the first time, they have never realized how high their shoulders are. Like your
Mhm.
shoulders should not be your earrings. That's what I tell my clients. Like if your shoulders are up here all the time, something's wrong. You should be
Mhm.
able to relax your shoulders. And just by relaxing them, when you feel that difference, it's, oh my God, I never feel like this.
Mhm.
That's your first clue.
Mhm.
But something else happens. Fight, flight, freeze, I was talking about, is
Yes.
activated in your brain with muscle tension. Your brain's first signal that you perceive a threat is tightness in your muscles. Now, for some folks, that's tightness in their jawline and they don't realize they're kind of clenching their teeth. For some folks, like for me, I know like when the day is getting away from me and my shoulders start becoming my earrings and I can feel like, wait, why do I feel like I'm a turtle? Hold on, let's straighten up. Let's get these shoulders, round them up, round and back. Like, let's align my body. Like, even with our posture, most of us have horrible posture.
Yeah.
Even if you're sitting at your desk, like when you sit at your desk, are your knees above your ankles? Are your shoulders above your hips? Is your chin parallel with your lap? If it's not, you're probably doing one of these and
Mm.
slumped over
That's
somewhere.
something over.
And
Yeah.
so, what you're doing in that slump is you're sending the stress signal to your brain to say, there's danger here. And
Mm.
so you're activating without even realizing it, that fight, flight, freeze response. And so what I teach folks a lot of times is before you can like connect the dots emotionally with what's going on with you, just listen to your body
Mm.
because your body literally holds on to whatever is going on with you emotionally. So if you can disconnect that feeling and start to just understand what relaxation feels like for your body, then you can start to be more aware of when you're in a situation, what pulls you out of that state. So if you realize my shoulders are always hunched when I'm around this certain person, newsflash, we need to do some work about toxic people and figure out why that person is causing this stressful reaction for you. If you do that every time you walk into work, we need to talk about connecting you with a career coach so that you
So you
find
can
another job.
transition.
Right.
COVID taught us some stuff about that, but we want to have
COVID
you
taught
back
us a
again. Come
whole
on now.
COVID
I'm
did
not
teach
going
us a
back to
lot.
work. I'm not going back to the
That's it.
office. You can't make me.
Right.
Yeah.
Because look how many people were more productive, realized they didn't really hate their job. They just hated the environment that they had to do their job in, or they didn't like the team that they had to work with, but they didn't really hate their job. They were really good at their job. And
Mm-hmm.
some folks found out that they were so good at it that they could do it for themselves and get paid for it on their own without the middleman.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, that
So
part. Yes. There's a lot of
but
beautiful fruit that came out of COVID.
so much, so much,
A
so
lot
much.
of beautiful fruit.
I gave up my office. I don't really need to see you in person. I can see you on Zoom. We can like it's but it's really connected to a lot of what's called the somatic work, the feeling work that people have done, some intentionally, some not so much. It's just that recognition. There we go. I do speak English. That when I'm in this space, I feel this way. If I don't want to feel this way, I have to remove myself from the space. And that is self care. We don't talk about self care in that way, but that is self care.
So I'm reclaiming my time. I'm like
Yes, ma'am.
Auntie.
Yes.
I want to reclaim my time, and I don't even begin to realize I'm just scratching the surface of how much of my time I need to reclaim. Like I didn't even know it was lost out there in these streets.
Mm-hmm.
Again, as an African American woman, um, I need to realize the fact that I need to reclaim my time first. What that
Mm-hmm.
looks like, understanding my body and what my body is telling me or not telling me. And then I've done those two things, right? You know, what can I begin to do at that point to figure out how can I reclaim my time in a way that because you said something at the beginning. Self-care isn't the mani-pedi, right? Self-care isn't the bubble bath. I mean, we need to have some of that. We need to do some of that. And perhaps maybe the time that you spent in the bubble bath, you make that a non-negotiable part of now what am I doing in the bubble bath? Am I still tense? I'm in this water and I'm getting clean and the bubbles are around me, but what is my brain doing while I'm there? How can I begin to reclaim my time for my own wandering mind?
Well, it's real simple. In the words of Medea, sit down. It's really as simple. Just sit down, right? You have to set a boundary first with yourself.
That's good.
A lot of times people talk about setting boundaries with other people. You can't set a boundary with anybody else if you don't know what the boundary is that you're trying to set and where you're trying to get.
Don't say that one more time.
You cannot set a boundary with somebody else if you don't know what the boundary is and what you're trying to set. So the first thing you need to do is just sit still for a minute and figure out what is it that peace looks like for you. Because it's not the same for everybody. I have clients whose schedules I would not want if you paid me, like cash money paper on the table. I don't want it. They get up as early as like 4 or 5 a.m. They get up early at the gym. Now, I've come to love the gym. I don't love it enough to be there at 4:30 or 5 in the morning. I just don't. That's not my ministry.
I don't either.
Okay? It's a struggle to get there at 8:45. So, no, I'm not there. But I have folks who that is their thing. They get up, and for them, if they don't start their day at the gym, for them, it just doesn't feel like a day. They get up, they might go to spin, they go swimming, they do this, they do that. They do all of their stuff in the morning, and then they start their day, and they take care of work, and then they take care of home, and then all of that, and then they go to bed and get up and do it all over again. That's not me. I'm more of my best hours are like between 11 and 11. Like, I don't talk to me at 8 o'clock in the morning unless you're telling me the house is on fire and I need to get out. Like, that's it, right? So for most people, I think what gets them caught up is they're trying to do self-care the way other people do. You're reclaiming your time. You're not reclaiming my time. Like, the way I do my time is my way. The way you do your time is your way. So one size does not fit all. You have to figure out what is it that you're trying to accomplish. If I know that my best waking hours, well, they used to be because now my kids stay up longer because they're teenagers, but my best time used to be between like 9 and 11:30 because everybody was like in bed and the house was quiet and, everything was great. I have a almost 18-year-old and a 16-year-old. I don't ever have quiet. Like, they're playing the video games, they're talking to each other, and they love each other, but they are loud. They like horse playing and all that. Thank God they are on one side of the house, I'm on the other, or I might have a case. But so for me, my time is, when everybody is, I'll say, in their own spaces. When I can sit at my desk and figure out, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I got done today. This is what I need to do for tomorrow, and map everything out. I like to map my week out starting on Sunday. So on Sunday, I set aside a larger chunk of time. I go through everything that I have for the week. I lay everything out. And then at the end of each day, I just kind of look back and see, okay, did I get all this done? Do I have to move it to the next day? And that's how I make sure I have everything in there. Everything for me is lifting weights 3 times a week. It's going to the chiropractor once a week because I sit way too much. It is eating things that I actually like, some of which are healthier than others. I'm not one of those people who lives on rabbit food. No. I love a good steak. So I'm probably eating steak at least once or twice a week. I make sure that I spend time with my husband separately. I spend time with myself on my own every day. I spend time with my kids, a little bit when they come in. I am on social media sometimes scrolling. I build my kind of aimless scrolling and Angry Birds Candy Crushing time into my schedule because that's what makes me happy. I'm a therapist. I listen to people's problems all day. So I need that space where I'm not doing anything that requires my brain to work. I'm not doing any research. I'm not doing anything. Those are the things that make me happy. I still go get my hair done. Yeah, I still go get my nails done. But that is not my self-care plan. Before I go to bed, I make sure that at least 15 minutes are spent just in quiet prayer and meditation. Usually practicing gratitude for everything that has happened, good, bad, or indifferent. Okay, Lord, the Lord knows I'm his problem child. He knows this. And so at the end of the day, we go through all of my problem child tendencies. I did really good. I didn't cuss today. And I think I earned a gold star there. Or, I wanted to, but I was okay. And so I spend that time. That is my daily routine, right? And I make sure that every day, I don't care how much I give to my clients, how much I give to my family, how much I give to my friends, that there is something that I do just for me. And in the morning, that just for me is a hot cup of coffee, uninterrupted, before I even turn the screen on and talk to anybody.
Yes.
And so that's my everyday. Some days I want to go out to the coffee shop and actually drink my coffee in the coffee shop. Sometimes I just want to go for a ride. So I grab my coffee to go and I go for a ride for a little bit. So it's not really this set structured thing. And I tell folks, don't look for balance, look for harmony.
Come on now.
Because there's some days that, the work stuff is going to be kind of heavy. You might have a big project that you're working on. I might have 7 or 8 clients this one day because I want to take off an extra day this week. That's fine. But find that rhythm and that harmony that works for you. Some days it's going to be smooth jazz. Other days it's going to be hard rock. Just find it. Figure out where you flow. Yes. And make sure that whatever the day has, that you have carved out the space for you. Yes. However that works for you. Yes. Make sure you have your time. 20 minutes every day works wonders. Even if, this weekend at a conference I had to present at, I gave the example of cooking. If you find a recipe, you go online and you find a recipe. I love Vietnamese pho. So pho takes a long time to cook because, you got to boil down the bones and the herbs and the, all of that stuff. Have not tried it yet for that reason, but we're going to use that as an example. If you go and you research the recipe on how to make pho, you've actually attended to your intellectual wellness. You're learning something different, right? When you spend the time cooking, all of the aromatics in what you're cooking are going to put you in a certain mood. So not only did you change your environment with that smell and those textures of food, but you also have helped your emotional health get a little bit of boost because that's what you're breathing in.
So right? I got a question. Remind me that I have a question when you finish this.
Okay. You're attending to your physical health because you're eating something that's wholesome, that's not processed, that's 100% fresh, right? So we already got physical, intellectual, environmental. Your occupational is you're doing a hobby, and occupational health is about that work-life balance. So you found a hobby, right? You're going to feed your family and you're going to sit over a nice home-cooked meal. That's your social. You're going to save money because you actually prepared the meal at home instead of going out and buying it. So you just attended to your financial wellness. You say your grace. That's your spiritual wellness. You just hit all of your dimensions with one thing. So it's not complicated. It's about us. And it's also not selfish. It's about doing things that help feed your soul. And that doesn't always happen in isolation. It happens a lot of times in community. But is your cup getting full, or are you just taking care of everybody else? So you had a question. What was your question?
I do. So you were talking about the aromatics from preparing the meal. And so in my marriage coaching, one of the big issues there is they don't ever have time for each other. And sometimes, me and my husband enjoy cooking together. I enjoy his food. And if I could get him to cook with me, that's really him cooking the meal. But we're not going to tell him all my secrets.
No, we're going to keep that.
We're going to tell him all my secrets. But depending on, because okay, certain foods are supposed to be aphrodisiacs. So my question is, if we actually spending time, so like I had a client to ask me, how could she increase her libido? And I was like, well, some of the things you can do. But she wanted a quick pill. And like, I'm not gonna tell you, I'm not your doctor. You gotta go get a doctor for that, for a pill. But
you don't need a pill.
You don't, exactly. She didn't need a pill. They had a whole busy life that they literally just didn't have time for each other. And there's one day a week that they had time for each other. And because that was the only day that they had time for each other, she felt it was mechanical. So I don't want it. Well, not in that time. So if you could cook dinner together with him, depending on what it is that you're cooking, which one of these spices, herbs, food, whatever it is supposed to have that type of impact on you, maybe, just maybe, that might open the door for a different type
and
of
here's the
relaxation.
other thing. Your largest, well, maybe your second largest, because your largest, I was going to say largest sexual organ you have is your brain. Technically, it's your skin, but that's a whole other conversation. Because stimulation starts in your mind.
Yeah.
And if you are doing good self-care, your cup is always full. You're gonna be ready to go whenever, because you don't have to sort through. Okay, wait, this I didn't do the laundry. I got to take the dry cleaning. Wait, did I put onions on the grocery list? Kids got to be picked up you don't have all of that because you've made enough time to keep your cup full. So that, and I tell people, stop saying you can't pour from an empty cup. Yes, we know that's true. You can't pour from an empty cup, but you shouldn't be pouring from the cup anyway. You should be pouring from the saucer. Live so full that you've always got overflow.
I love that.
And then you've got enough to give to everybody else.
Yes.
And then you're not sacrificing, it's either me or you. Now you can live from a both me and you perspective. And that's a fuller and more purposeful existence. So like, yeah, I've had couples that tell me, well, we ain't got no time because we ain't. Baby, you got time. What you don't have is a clear mind. That's what you don't have. Because when you look at the laundry list of excuses that people have for why they can't cultivate intimacy, and I'm talking non-sexual intimacy, because that's where it has to start.
Because yes,
if you don't have that, just forget about it. The other stuff ain't gonna happen. It really starts with both of you taking care of yourselves and being whole, happy, healed people, so that when you come together, it's easier. I'm not wading through your mess. You're not wading through my mess. We've already kind of got what we need, and we're just bringing our collective mess together, so to speak, and making something beautiful out of it.
Right.
But there are foods you can eat. Aromatherapy is really good, because there are certain lang lang is an essential oil that's really good, that's supposed to like get you all warm and fuzzy inside. There are a couple other ones. Peppermint oil has been known to do that in some cases. Like, just put on a diffuser, couple drops, throw it in the bedroom, watch the sparks fly. Like, whatever you need to do.
Even if the sparks on fire, you put a peppermint oil in there, your nose will be wide open if you have any sinus issues. I'm just be clear. Put it in the diffuse, people. Don't put it in your water. You're gonna regret it.
Please don't. I mean, you could, but that's taking things to a whole nother level. That's a little extra spicy.
Another level.
But no. We're talking beginner level. Beginner level, just put a little in the diffuser.
Put it in the diffuser.
Orange oil is another one that some people really like, because it's a brightening, like stress relieving type of oil. Orange or lemon, like any of the citruses, they help brighten your mood, so they help get rid of stress. Going to sleep sometimes is a big thing. If you haven't had enough sleep, your body is not gonna want to do all that extracurricular stuff. It just wants to shut down.
It's tired.
Lavender oil, chamomile oil, And you can even mix the chamomile with the lavender with peppermint, and that's a really good like nights out type of thing. So there are a lot of different ways to do it. You just gotta be creative.
But the main thing is that I hear you saying, as humans in general, but we're speaking, because we're reclaiming our time.
Mm-hmm.
We are reclaiming our time as African American women. We've got to make ourselves our first priority.
Yep.
And it's not selfish. And when I make me my first priority and it's non-negotiable, it keeps me mentally, emotionally, physically, psychologically, all of those things in a good space so that I can be in do in those other areas of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to put me first, I need to know what I like, what works, what doesn't work. I need to know me.
Mm-hmm.
You did mention something about chiropractic care, like self-care. I do love pedicures because there's something about a woman with her heels out and they crusty that bothers me. So I can never be chic. And that's not a self-care moment for me either, because
No, that's hygiene.
generally, though, unless I'm at a spa, if I went to go take a spa day, I'm doing like a 4-5 hour spa day and it's something different, yeah, I might think of it differently. But me fitting that in my day to go hurry up and get my pedicure so I can get on with the rest of my day, I'm usually in that little vibrating chair with my headphones in, either on calls, sending texts, sending emails. I'm not relaxed because it's not a relaxing environment.
It's not.
In most nail salons, it's not a relaxing environment. But the thing that I have implemented more are massages. And there is some amazing masseuses that'll come to your house, to your office with their table.
Mm-hmm. And that is good for, like I said, your body locks in all of the stress that you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're somebody who is doing all the things and it feels like you're not getting anywhere, connect with a masseuse that you can have an ongoing relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
Not this, it's my birthday, it's
Yeah.
our anniversary, let's go drop in, because then that takes the self-care out of it. That's like it's like an amusement park.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can connect with, like, I have a wonderful masseuse who I've been seeing for probably about 5 to 6 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Every month,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes twice a month.
Mm-hmm.
Because I sit all day, it's not good for me physically.
Yes.
And my body starts, I'm on the other side of 40 now. Some things I could do before I,
Girl,
the things I used to do, I can't do no more.
50 right there. It's right there. That's why I'm right there.
I gotta get stuff right. And what I love about Val is, because we have a consistent relationship, Val knows, one, where all my tension is stored.
Mm-hmm.
She can tell by looking at me when I walk in her door what kind of week I've had.
Mm-hmm.
She can tell me what's tight where, and she does not rest until it's fixed.
Yeah.
And so between seeing her, seeing the chiropractor for the adjustments, even acupuncture, they are wonderful additions that help you to release the stress and the tension that's locked in your body. Because remember, the muscle tightness is the first signal to your brain that something is wrong.
Yeah.
So yes, you can start with massages. Yes, you can start with, chiro and all of that. But don't just think it's going to be a one and done. You still have to do your consistent work every day. To make it work.
Making ourselves our first priority as African American women, as moms, as wives. I mean, sisters, if you're single with no children, you still have to make you your first priority.
Absolutely.
So that you can be the best version of yourself at all times in every aspect, because you said it's 8 components. It's 8 components. Are we showing up and taking care of ourselves in 8 areas of our life? Or are we just concerned about making sure that I was on live earlier with the we were talking about health and wellness and what it means versus what it doesn't mean. And the nurse practitioner who was doing a show with me, she was like, you know, the misconception is people think that just because you're fit or your body type is ideal that you are practicing good health and wellness. And she was like, you know, let me let you know, those are some of the most unhealthy people in the world, or they are
Mm-hmm.
good on the weight chart, the height and weight chart, you know. And she was like, you know, clinically they call them skinny fats. I'm like, what is that? They diabetic, they this, they that. It's like because they don't really understand what health and wellness really is, and they're not taking care of every aspect of who they are. So they're still suffering. Whereas, you know, like I bust the chart wide open. I'm obese according to the chart, but I'm not diabetic. I'm not pre-diabetic. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have any of these things. But it's because I intentionally take care of myself so that
Absolutely.
I don't have to struggle with those issues.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I like steak too. So I don't eat, I'm not a vegan. I'm not a vegan. I'm not plant-based. I'm not doing those things. But there's a lot of other factors that are saying,
And
let me
some of
take
that
care of me.
plant-based stuff is made out of a whole bunch of chemicals and processed stuff anyway, and so it's not really as great as it could be, but that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, you're right.
Listen,
I'm gonna
reclaiming
stay
my time.
focused. I'm gonna stay focused.
Yeah, reclaiming our time. A Black woman's guide to self-care.
Yeah.
8 dimensions of self-care. And you want to get this book, people. You want to get this book. Look, the link to purchase the book in the show notes. Uh, what you can expect from the book is that as the reader to cultivate a consistent and individualized self-care practice. What self-care is, what self-care isn't. Learning that putting yourself first is necessary. It's not selfish. It is your reasonable service unto you
Mm-hmm.
so that you can be and do all of the things that you need to be and do from a healthy space,
Mm-hmm.
from a very healthy space. And, you know, those of us that are mothers, whether you're single moms or married moms, when I'm not practicing good self care, my family lets me know that
Oh, they will
because
tell
I'm an
you.
irritable individual.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm an irritable individual. And the boundaries that you set, my family knows that because my office has been in my house for a number of years, I can't have my coffee or hot tea in my house. I have to go out of my house. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I've had a few people say, "Well, liquidity, that's a waste of money. How you a business coach wasting money? It's not a waste of money for me. It's a part of my budget because
Mm-hmm.
I have to have that non-negotiable time with me in a space that I enjoy being in. Because when I
Mm-hmm.
walk into my office in my home, I'm at work.
Mm-hmm.
When I leave my office and my home, I'm still
You at
technically
work.
I'm at work. Now I'm in
Mm-hmm.
mom mode, grandmother mode. I'm in whatever mode I need to be. I'm in wifey mode. Husband come through the door, he had a bad day. You know, I could have had a bad day too. But yeah, I mean, let's face it, women they talk. We get asked about our day, probably not first.
Mm-hmm.
And because you
Mm-hmm.
work from home, people don't always click or connect that you're working,
Mm-hmm.
even though you're working.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't take care of me at the beginning of the day, when am I going to take care of me? I have to. It's so non-negotiable. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, most of the time, I don't eat breakfast. A large majority of the time, at my little favorite little mom and pop spot, it's a true hole in the wall. But they have Wi-Fi, girl. They have Wi-Fi.
That works. That works.
I could go in there and drink on my coffee. If I bring tea, I just show them. They know me my name. If I come through the door, shake my tea box because I'm bringing my tea with me.
Mm-hmm.
They bring the honey and the hot water to my table.
Mm-hmm.
It's are you gonna eat today? Or are you just gonna work today or zone out of what you're working on? You know, from like
Mm-hmm.
when I was writing my book, you know, they were really supportive and encouraging where you at in the book or whatever. And they just leave me a beat. Even the customers, the other regular customers, they know it's an amazing environment that I love to be in. And I go and it's non-negotiable Monday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
that's a really big part of my self-care practice. And when I don't do it,
You
if
feel
something
it.
happens and I can't,
You feel it. And that's what I tell people. Self-care is taking care of you so you can take care of business.
Mhm.
That's all it is. Because if you all messed up and scatterbrained and whatever, you gonna put the cat food in the dog bowl and the dog food on the table. It's like, who wants that? Who wants that? No, take care of yourself, be in the right space, do the things that you need to do for you. And like you said, some people might see that as like, oh my God, how you gonna do that? No, you don't have to understand it. This is what I need for me.
Mm-hmm.
You do what you need for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what I need for me, and we'll all live happily ever after.
Happily ever after. And many of you that follow me know my children are adult children. I started this practice when my children, 9th grade to 2nd grade,
Mm-hmm.
and telling them no is
That was fun.
anointed. They shall live and not die, says the Lord. I don't have to do everything. I'm in competition with no one.
Nobody.
Learn that. My self-care came before their school projects, their school plays, their school activities. Now, I'm not saying I didn't show up. And at that time, I worked outside of the home. I actually was a federal government employee at that time. I still had to take care of me.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for me to do the things that I did do and show up in the areas I did show up, I had to take care of me first. I had to make me a priority. And telling them no blessed my whole life.
And theirs too. They just didn't realize it then. Because here's the other thing that I don't think we talk enough about, and that is what you're doing, you're teaching your children is acceptable. Whether you intend to or not.
Or not.
So if you end up being, particularly Black women with young Black ladies that they're raising, you're showing your daughter that riding the struggle bus 24/7, 365 is the way to go.
No.
And you don't like it. You're miserable in it. And yet this is what you're telling your child is okay.
No.
And then that child is going to grow up and do the same thing and teach their child. So, especially in the church, we big on talking about generational curses. What about the curse of you not taking care of yourself?
Come on,
and how that brings disease, how that brings stress, how it can bring premature death. So now your children have to now bury you and deal with your loss and all of that. How is that God's will for your life, sis?
It's not. Listen. See you coming back for part 2. Because we have to talk about that from the aspect. You gonna see you open that up.
My bad. I was supposed to stay.
I'm just saying, part 2, reclaiming my time. The African American woman's guide to self-care. Part 2. Reclaiming our time. Because yes, that part. Reclaiming our time as women of God. What is ministry? What it's not? What are we showing future generations on how to show up the right way in the house of God? Means I might not always need to be there.
Exactly. Even Jesus told his disciples, peace out, I'll catch you on the other side.
Come on now.
And if he was our greatest example, why are we overworking ourselves. And killing ourselves and not practicing Sabbath in the way that Jesus taught us to?
Come on now.
I'm going to shut up, though, because that's a whole nother conversation.
Part 2, reclaiming my time. An African American woman's guide to self-care. Because our spiritual life is a big part of our life. And a lot of things that we think are good for our spiritual life and our maturity and our growth in Christ and all of these things, we're killing ourselves. Like I was asked a couple of days ago. Matter of fact, it was Sunday night. I'm a speaker at this conference called the Balanced Woman Health Summit. And we were doing an interview all of the speakers were doing an interview Sunday night on a show. And I was asked, because my topic is, am I truly a balanced woman? And what that looks like from the perspective of women in ministry and marriage within the church. Mother over there with her feet swole up like elephant ankles, but you still trying to serve. Mother, please go sit down and put your feet up.
All the way up.
All
Get
the way
some
up.
Epsom salt while you at it and just
Yeah,
sit there.
like no, that's not serving as unto the Lord. You know, I'm here from can't see to can't see. I'm opening the door. I'm closing the door of the church. But my husband is not saved. He don't love the Lord, and watching you, he didn't want to, and don't like the people at the church either. You still trying to cast the devil out. You the devil.
Well,
because you're not where you're supposed to be. You know, even just a little bit, even from my husband's perspective, like brothers, you earning the money, you spending the time at work. Your ministry should not cost you your marriage. That's not how God designed it. It should not cost you your relationship with your children. It should not be broken because you're serving and you're ministering. I love the name of your book, Reclaiming My Time.
That's from Auntie Maxine.
Yes, honey.
Auntie Maxine gave that one.
Yes, but an African American woman's guide to self-care, and it covers just every 8 components. And that spiritual component for those of us that are Christians and African Americans, we mess up right there a lot. So yeah, book us for part 2. We're gonna talk about a few things. We're gonna talk about it because you got 8 dimensions. Listen, people,
there are 8.
Get the book so y'all can follow along with us as we talk about this. Right? Get the book. Get the book. Get the book. Get the book. You need the book. Those 8 dimensions of what self-care truly, truly, truly is. You know, Dr. J, has been amazing having you, and I appreciate your patience because you probably should have reclaimed your time about 20 minutes ago. We have been over the time, so I do appreciate your patience.
It is all good. It is all good.
Listen,
my son just texted me too.
Before we go, tell everyone how they can reach you. In the show notes will be the link for the purchase of the book, but how can they reach you? What's your social media website and all of that?
So the easiest way to get me is on social media platforms. So on Facebook, it is Awakening Change LLC. On Instagram, it's just Awakening Change. I'm on LinkedIn, Dr. Tiffany M. Jenkins. And then there's the website. Website is my baby. It just got redesigned. www.awakeningchange.org. And on there, you'll be able to get the book. There's some self-study courses that I have. You can sign up for those. There's a space to sign up for the newsletter. Once a month, I send out a blast with usually some self-care related topic for the month. So yeah, those are the main ways to reach me. And the social media really is me. So if you inbox me, you're really talking to me. You're not talking to like a bot or somebody assigned to like a social media team or anything like that. It's coming directly to me. So yeah, looking forward to connecting with folks.
Awesome. All of the links to our social media are also in the show notes as well. Dr. Tiffany Jenkins, thank you so much for being an amazing guest on Laquita's Toolbox. You have dropped some great, very practical gems on self-care. And I know, we had fun today. And the name of your book is Reclaiming Our Time, a Black Woman's Guide to Self-Care. But these are guides to self-care for anyone. Man,
they really are.
It does not matter what your ethnicity is. Self-care is important. Self-care is important for everyone. So pick up the book, enjoy the book, apply the principles to your life, and see how things shift and change in a good way.
In a good way. In a great way.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This is fun. This is fun.
No problem. You are welcome. Thank you for being a great guest. Until next time. This is Laquita Monley. I cannot talk. This is Laquita Monley. This has been another amazing episode of Laquita's Toolbox Live. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Hit the download button on your favorite podcast listening platform. I want to hear from you. Leave us a review. Let me know your thoughts. If you like what you heard, I want your feedback. If you're saying, Laquita, I've listened to a few of your episodes and you're not hitting on anything, I want to know that too. Tell me what you think I need to do to improve and actually provide you tools that will help you grow as entrepreneurs, as well as tools that you can use for your own personal growth and development. Until next time, you guys be blessed. Peace.